All right, we got a game tonight, Knicks versus Bulls. If you're checking in with me live, shout out to you on YouTube. Shout out to you guys on X. If you guys can share the space so we can get this content out. Remember to hit the subscribe button as well. So, Knicks obviously last night winning a miraculous. Yeah. Quiet, quiet, Papa left, quiet. Knicks obviously winning a big time game last night, coming back down 18 points in the fourth quarter against the Houston Rockets. We spoke about that on the live. We spoke about that on my previous episode. So definitely get a check that out when you get a chance. But tonight, the Knicks are going to hit the road for a 3-game road trip. They play the Chicago Bulls tonight, and then they go and they play the Cleveland Cavaliers on Tuesday. And then I believe they're on the road against the Milwaukee Bucks. So that will be their schedule. Just want to double check it real quick so I can get you guys the official schedule. Yep, we got the Bulls, we got the Cavs, and then we got the Bucks. 3 games in 5 days. If you want to sandwich the game from last night, it's 4 games in 5 days. 4 games in 5 days, 4 games in 6 days. But you're going to have the Bulls tonight, 8 o'clock start, and then you're going to have the Cavs on Tuesday, and then the Bucks on Friday. So the Knicks have 3 games coming up. This episode is going to be dedicated to the matchup between the Bulls and the Knicks. Some rotations that are going to be involved in the game because of the absence or the likely absence of Mitchell Robinson. I haven't seen anything about it, but usually Mitch, until this point in this year, has not played on back-to-backs, and we are in the second leg of a back-to-back. So that will be interesting to see how Mike Brown finesses the rotation. Also, OG Anunoby coming off of about 2 to 3 weeks of being injured, playing 40 minutes last night, matching minutes with Kevin Durant. So we'll see if they monitor his usage and things of that nature. But first, wanted to just get through some of the talking points. So right now, the Knicks are standing at 3rd place in the Eastern Conference. They got a favor from the Cleveland Cavaliers today, who lost to the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was a tight game, and Oklahoma City Thunder pulled away without SGA, a lot of rebounding, and same old for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Just couldn't get the tough, gritty, 50-50 balls, and they couldn't win possessions. And Oklahoma City just out executed them. Not a good loss for them, but they'll be. I said this before the 8-game stretch, and we're going to get into the Bulls in a second. But really quickly on the Cavs, I said that the Cavs are in the same spot that we were in against the Pistons, where it's like either they're going to play the game with a bunch of pride and owe us one, or we just have their number. I don't think that we have Cleveland's number. I think if we execute, we usually beat them, though. So it's going to be an interesting game. But the Knicks cannot look ahead because this cannot be ignored. This is a big time matchup with the Chicago Bulls tonight, because it has standings implications, and the Knicks are a half game up on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are 2 games back in the loss column of the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics play the Lakers tonight, I believe. So, the Knicks got to do a good job of securing 3rd seed at worst, 2nd seed probably at best, if we're being honest. And it starts tonight with, securing 2 out of 3 out of the All-Star break. Obviously, we would have liked to win the game against Detroit. It just didn't happen. Thankfully, we are not looking at losing 2 in a row and then going on the road versus a team in Chicago that is tanking, and they've lost 8 in a row. They've pretty much sold off their entire roster. They have a makeshift roster right now. They're trying to get into the lottery. Chicago is standing at 24-33. So losing 8 in a row, they basically went from a 500 team to a tanking team. And they're 6 games back in their world of the Washington Wizards. And what we would like to do, now here's the thing that I haven't even thought about. What we would like to do is we would like to hand Chicago another L and bring them closer to closer to Washington. so we can get them in a smaller window and bump the Wizards back up, back up the lottery and not down the lottery. Right now, the Bulls are a full 2 games back of the Charlotte Hornets for the play-in. They'll play up for us. They'll definitely play up for us. They'll definitely have some motivation to win. They've lost 8 in a row. New York Knicks are coming into their building. They've played us well historically in the Billy Donovan era, in terms of their athleticism and pacing. It's always been an issue for us, at their place, at our place. We haven't really been able to handle them too well. When we played them earlier in the year on Halloween, we lost the game. We were down by 20 at half, and we came back and made it about a 4-point game, but we weren't able to secure the comeback. That's when we went down 2-3 on the season. And then, the season was pretty much over at that point, right? And then they came back, I think, a week later, and I think we took it to them. If I remember correctly, I'm not exactly sure, but I think we took it to them in that game at Madison Square Garden. But now we are on the road again, and the Bulls have some pieces that are familiar, some pieces that are not. So let's go through their roster real quick, and their depth chart, which is a little bit different. So obviously they have Josh Giddey at the point. They have Isaac Okoro, who, of course, they traded Lonzo Ball to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Lonzo Ball got waived. He's yet to be picked up. Isaac Okoro is now in their starting lineup. And they have Montas Buzelis, who is their second-year, young budding star player for them. Probably the most valuable player on the roster right now. But the talent like him, or a talent like Giddey, is the reason why they are punting on competing, and they are trying to get back into the lottery, because you cannot build a real winner around Giddey and Buzelis. You really need a star level talent. Buzelis is good. Giddey is a good point guard. He's given us fits for sure. But he is not like an all-star level kind of player right now. So that's what they're searching for. Obviously, they got Yabusele, who was traded to the Chicago Bulls in the deal where we sent Yabusele there. We got Dalen Terry. We didn't have to give up any picks, so that was good. We got Dalen Terry, and we traded Terry with 2 seconds over for Alvarado. So that's a nice little, theme for tonight's game, in terms of Yabusele has a little extra chip on his shoulder. He's going to try to prove it to the Knicks that he has something in the tank, and that he is something that, they should regret getting rid of or not giving him the opportunity. He's going to play a bunch of minutes. I can tell you that right now. He's going to play a whole bunch of minutes. He's been averaging about 25 to 30 minutes over there. Their center position is vacant. They got Jalen Smith, they got Nick Richards, and they got Gershon Yabusele. And Yabusele has been pretty much playing power forward for them. They still have Patrick Williams, Colin Sexton, and Anthony Simons, and Trey Jones off the bench. Patrick Williams, swingman forward, kind of like their version of OG Anunoby. Not as, powerful, you know what I mean, on the offensive side or on the defensive side, I should say, but he's a nice little two-way player. Colin Sexton coming over from Charlotte in the trade for Kobe White. So that's a new name for Chicago, but it's a name that we've known for a long time, since his days with Cleveland, and then the Donovan Mitchell trade, and then him going to Charlotte, and now him playing us with Chicago tonight. And Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is a player that is, I think he didn't get played a lot of minutes, and I'm seeing O next to his name. I want to make sure that he is indeed playing tonight. Let me just search his name real quick. I do not see. Okay. We do not have a full report on the injuries just yet. But Anthony Simons only played 13 minutes last night. I don't know what's going on with him. Trey Jones is he's a guy that causes troubles for you on the perimeter a little bit. They got Rob Dillingham in the trade. Of course, they let go of Ayo Dosunmu. Oh, okay. So Knicks fans since 7. That's the new lineup, the new name for you. Knicks fans since 7 says he's out. It says that uh, Patrick Williams is day to day and Nick Richards is day to day. Let's go through the trades real quick for them. They traded Ayo Dosunmu for four second round picks, and they got back Rob Dillingham and Leonard Miller. You'll probably see both of them tonight. Is Leonard Miller on their team? I'm pretty sure they got Leonard Miller. Yeah, they got Leonard Miller and Rob Dillingham. They also traded Kevin Huerter for Jaden Ivey, but Jaden Ivey is now out for 2 weeks as they're reevaluating his situation. They made another trade. They traded Vucevic to the Boston Celtics for Anthony Simons. So Simons is out. So the Knicks are going to play a team that, they're going to try to hit some threes early. They're going to try to play with pace. You already know they're going to try to hunt Brunson and switches and get, buckets in front of their home crowd. Both teams are coming off a back-to-back. The Pistons beat the Bulls 126-110 last night. And, the Bulls were ahead in that game in the first quarter. They kept it close for a half, and then the Pistons blitzed them in the third quarter and completely took over the game. So the Knicks cannot take this game lightly. There's a couple things I want to look for in tonight's game. And if you have comments and you want me to answer some questions on here, definitely hit me up in the comment section on YouTube. I prefer it on YouTube because I can see it, or on X. If you have X, if you want to come up and give a take, you can come up and give a take. But I can see your comments on X, and actually I'm gonna on YouTube, and I'm gonna post your comments here on the screen. So, one of the things that I'm looking for is first of all, what strategy does Billy Donovan use to guard the Knicks? That's number one. Is he going to let Brunson go through switches? Is he going to double Brunson in those situations? And is he going to guard Karl-Anthony Towns with a big? Is he going to guard him with a wing? I don't think they have the bodies to do that. I think that they're going to allow Cat to match up on Jalen Smith, most likely. Even Yabusele might get some of the responsibility. I saw when Yabusele played his second game with the Bulls, he was guarding Jokic. So I want to see that. And then also out of the guys that are on the ancillary kind of sides of the game, guys like Mikal, Josh Hart, I'm looking for those two to have a bounce back game. I'm looking for OG Anunoby to just get through the game with a clean bill of health, to be honest. And I want to see what those guys do, in particular, Josh Hart and Mikal, to get going. And I think Josh Hart will have a good game tonight, and I'll tell you why. He usually thrives in matchups where he can crash the glass with reckless abandon, and there's somebody on the floor that just doesn't want to partake in those antics. Now, Colin Sexton wants to do it, okay? I don't think Yabusele wants to do it. I don't think Okoro really wants to do it. Okoro is more of a wing defender. He's not really much of a rebounder. Buzelis is not really known for his, 50-50 ball kind of situations. He's a gutty little kid, but he hasn't filled out his frame. So I think Josh is going to have a bounce back game tonight. I hope that Mikal gets into a rhythm here. You saw the rhythm he was in the beginning of the season, and a lot of the emphasis seems to be now on getting Karl-Anthony Towns going. I think that Mikal has to get going as well. So, we got a lot of mouths to feed right now, and we have to make sure that we're playing our best brand of basketball. And we need, forget about, hey, we need to win the game. We need to start playing a better brand for sure. Now, the matchups were difficult. The Pistons are a good team, obviously. The Rockets are a good team as well. Chicago is not. It is our duty right now. It's like a baseball team. I always make parallels between sports. It's like a baseball team. You faced a couple tough pitchers. Now it's time to get your average up. Get a couple doubles in the gap. Hit a home run if you can. Work the count. You know what I mean? If you're the Knicks, hit your 3-pointers tonight. If you missed a bunch of shots, now's the time to come back and hit some shots and really, get back in a groove. Guys who are struggling should use this opportunity to not only compete and do the right things within the system of their offense, but get production. I really think that that is important for tonight's game. First caller, I got mentality. If you don't mind, just give me your thoughts or a quick question, and I'll address it on the show. And please don't curse. I'm on YouTube right now.
I think Chicago is a horrible team. They're 1-9 in the last 10 on an 8-game losing streak. So I think this is the perfect game for us to see a Tyler Cole and Combe Daddy, Ariel Hukporty. I want to see like our third stringers play most of the fourth quarter. So we should beat these guys by at least 30 points tonight. And this is a perfect opportunity to see the third stringers.
Thank you. That was NYK Mentality on X. You can give him a follow. NYK Mentality 85. I think that number one, we're definitely going to see Ariel Hukporty tonight. That is 100% going to happen. Mitchell Robinson, who did not play well against Detroit, he had some good offensive moments in these last two games, but defensively and rebounding wise, I think defensively it's kind of like in the middle, but the rebounding, with whether it was Capella or Tulu Smith or Paul Reed, he just did not have his impact, and he did not give us what we needed from him. And he's going to have a day off, and then he'll play on Tuesday. But Hukporty will have an opportunity to get about 15 to 20 minutes tonight. If the Knicks do blow up and take a big lead, I think Hukporty will have a bigger night. You know what I mean? So I think he's for sure going to play. I don't know if Dottier traveled with the team. I know that Kolek made it to the arena after playing at 3:30 last night for the summer league for the Westchester Knicks. And the Knicks tried to get their young guys who aren't playing some burn. I think they have like a organizational rule of like 7 to 10 days. Like, they gotta get some game action. But I do think that aside, and it's a good point you brought up, but I don't necessarily think it's the players that you brought up. To me, it's not about Kolek or Dottier, although I would like to see them in the fourth quarter. But at that point, it's not real reps. What I would like to see is now with Mitchell Robinson. Oh, I'm not speaking in the space. All right, got you. Thank you, Trippy. Hey, man, it worked. It got you guys on YouTube though. That is definitely a nice little mind trick. I can't say what the J stands for, but we'll say it's a Jedi mind trick for the people that can't handle a joke out there anymore, even though it comes from me and like I'm a part of it. So like whatever. But yeah, nice little Jedi mind trick on my part. I was saying, if you guys are listening to the space, what I was saying is I don't think it's about Kolek or Dottier getting those minutes. I think it's about Sohan and Diawara. Those two in particular, getting to the edge of the rotation, getting into more minutes, getting into more rhythm. Mike Brown can now see what lineups he wants to play them with. It's no Mitchell Robinson. So you're going to get lineups where Sohan and Diawara are the quote-unquote non-shooters with a shooting big. So it'll be interesting to see who Mike brings off the bench along with Shamet and Alvarado tonight, in addition to Hukporty. So maybe Clarkson gets some burn tonight. But I do think that, getting other guys in the mix here, it adds more blood to these matchups, and it keeps the games fresh, especially on the second leg of a back-to-back. So the rim protection by committee, you're going to have Karl Anthony Towns. The Knicks defense kind of sometimes falters, but here's the thing with Cat, like starting the fourth quarter and saying to his teammates that we got to get stops here. We got to play with pride. You can't do that in public and promote it and then come back the next night and not do that. Like, you got to be able to bring that tonight now. You know, everybody's got to be on that same type of timing. Bring that energy from the first quarter and let this team know they're just in a different weight class. All right, so more minutes for Cat at the 5. What that does for our defense, that's going to be interesting. It's more small ball lineups. It's more spacing lineups. There's going to be more gang rebounding. Guys like OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, even Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, these guys are going to have to pick up the rebounding. And, you know, they're going to have to be a little bit more intentional about guarding their yard. You can't just feed them down to the post because there's no real rim protector there. The other thing is Brunson tonight, just continuing his process, continuing feeding guys early, killing teams late. I think that's the best formula for Jalen Brunson, in my opinion. It's a little slow, like slanted in a way that kind of emboldens him to shoot early because he plays so much. But I think he should, because Mike Brown likes to mix in all those players. If I was Jalen Brunson, I would look to get everybody going early in that first quarter. I would be looking to play point guard Brunson basketball early and then do what he did late in the game. And again, I don't think it was on Brunson last night in that first half that, you know, that he had 2 points and people are like, oh, you want him to pass. You know, these guys got to make shots, like OG, Hart, Mikal, like our starters, not just the bench players. Our starters need to make shots. Cat showed up from the beginning of the game last night, but Cat also leaves the game in the first quarter religiously almost halfway through. So Shamit, Diawara, Sohan, these guys got to be able to make plays out of double teams, and they got to be able to score. So I'm real interested to see, you know, the complacency versus the pressure. It seems like Brunson responds to the pressure of the chatter, and then sometimes he responds to the complacency of the chatter. I want him to be intentional about facilitating. I think it will unlock this team and make them either fail or succeed together. I think it will bring this team together if he leads the charge in that department. Also, Karl-Anthony Towns has a responsibility, like I said, not just on defense, but on offense, to continue what he's been doing the last game. Like, it cannot be this, I'm good tonight, this night I'm not good. Like, this cannot be a repeat of the Indiana Pacers game. This is Micah Potter and Jay Huff. This is Nick Richards and Gershon Yabusele and Jalen Smith. Like, Cat's got to be a dominant force. And I love what Shaq had to say to him. And I don't understand the pushback against it. If you were an up-and-coming rapper and Jay-Z wanted to give you advice, even if it was terrible advice, you take the advice. You don't sit here and be like, no, J. Cole's my favorite rapper. I don't know, when's the last time Jay-Z's been relevant? No, you shut up and you take the advice. No matter how you look at the advice. And the advice was good advice. The advice was basically stop being polite. Stop being nice. He calls it soft. We call it soft. We know this Knicks team has the tendency to be soft because they're nice people. They got to waterboy themselves into understanding like somebody's going to take their legacy from them if they don't take it for themselves. And Shaq, you know, I don't think Shaq gives out that advice for free. Like, I don't think he's like sitting there just like giving. He knows Karl-Anthony Towns has the goods. A lot of us on Knicks Twitter, or Knicks Nation here on YouTube or whatnot, like we clown these guys, but a lot of these guys are like legitimately at the top of their position, and the old players know it. It has a certain, you could see it. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Let me just go through the chat here on YouTube real quick. We got Killer Kamikaze. Let's go up, actually. Let's go to Killer Kamikaze. Says, I hope we get to see the bench mob. I think we will. Early on, I think Mike Brown has shown on back-to-backs he gets his team involved early, whether it be sometimes he would go to Clarkson, he would go to Kolick. Now it's going to be different. Now it's going to be Sohan. Now it's going to be Diawara. I thought Diawara was impressive, and I thought he got caught with his hands in a cookie jar a little bit. A little slow-footed on defense, and then a little bit too physical with the hands. And he's going to have to learn. But I do think he's just better than Sohan in terms of offensive talent. All right. Would like to see Sohan play tonight. This is from SG Knicks Boy. Yeah, I think Sohan is going to get an opportunity to play extended minutes. I don't like him with Mitchell Robinson. I do like him with Cat. I'm interested to see what he looks like on the floor for an extended period of minutes. As bad as his shot looked, I think the more he shoots them, I think he'll start to get a little bit. I think he'll start to get a little bit more comfortable in the offense. Again, this is a player that hasn't played in months in the rotation there, like spot minutes here and there. And now he's coming onto a team and there's pressure and he has to learn the system. And if he takes a shot, it's his only shot. He took a shot at the end of a shot clock that I don't really count that one. But the other shot he took, you could tell he was juiced up for it. He was shot it a little bit too long. But I don't care about his form or anything like that. If you're open, trust your mechanics and hit your shot. Get significant minutes at least. I agree. This is from Killer Kamikaze. The French coalition should be able to cook, but Dadier got soft bones and frontal cortex is light years behind. Yeah, he's not. You know, you've seen this with young kids and through the ages of following these Knicks teams. Some young guys, they have the confidence factor where it's like some nights they have confidence, some nights they don't. And then they look like a certain talent one night, and then the other night they look like a shell of themselves. Then there's players like Deuce McBride, right? There's players like Mohamed Diawara that are just like tunnel vision. They excel with the opportunity. They're not afraid of it. I think Dadier is, you know, in a spot where he's going to have to be a finished product and have the opportunity before he really shows what he can do. This is Cyrus. Do you really believe that Cat gave the team a pep talk yesterday on defense, or do you think it's Cap from the coach? No, I don't think it's Cap. I don't think it's Cap. I think that Mike Brown is very transparent. He lets a lot of what we haven't heard with Tom Thibodeau over the last couple of years go in terms of just the basketball speak. You know, we used to joke about it on here. You know, the game will tell you what to do. At least Mike Brown will actually give you the basketball terminology of what he's actually, you know, talking about the game, telling you. Of course, the game tells you what to do. But Tibbs is a guy that he's a idiosyncratic, like a Rain Man level basketball mind, and he wants to live in his own world and block out the noise and not talk to anybody, not try to, you know. There was a clip of Sean Payton, the coach on the Denver Broncos, and somebody was talking about Dre Greenlaw getting downhill, and Sean Payton like shut him up real quick. He was like, "Oh, you know what it means to get downhill." It's like these guys. Some of these guys would get very prideful about, you know, people asking them about their jobs. I think the Knicks are very transparent about their situation when it comes to Cat, and I don't think that they favor him. I think they're very tough on him, opposed to Jalen or opposed to anybody else. So I do think that Cat brought that energy. Again, he played well against Jokic, and he played well against Sengun. These guys shared a locker room with each other with Team World. One from before, one after the All-Star break. But these guys know each other. These guys know the opportunity that they have when they go against each other. And I think Cat took it personally. And it was my ask, you know, in that top of that fourth quarter where it was just like, we're already here. We're already getting our teeth kicked in. Can we please just not go home softly? And we, by virtue of putting up a fight, with no Amen Thompson and Kevin Durant in the game, we found ourselves in the game, and then we took the game. So a lot of that credit goes to Alvarado, Shamit, Mikhail, OG, and Cat, which is a lineup I would like to see again tonight. If it's really true, Cat of all people talking about defense. I'd like to share a quick story. You know, when I was coaching high school freshman basketball in West Orange, there was this one kid who, you know, sometimes you have a kid on the team, he's the most talented kid on the team, but depending on their personality, they are, you know, a bit of a prima donna, or you can't get them to get their grades together, or they fool around in school or things like that. I went up to the coach. I was assistant coach in a freshman team, and I went up to the coach and I said, let's make this kid the captain. And he was like, are you crazy? This kid doesn't get his work done. This kid fools around. Like, and I was like, no, like, if you give him the responsibility, then he has no out. And I think, like, when people, a couple people have asked me that question, like, don't you think it's silly that Cat is the one that's bringing up defense? Shouldn't it be Mike Brown? At the end of the day, Mike Brown telling you what to do is not really going to hold weight when it's Carl doing it. Like, if you have your weakest, like, it's the same thing with Brunson, by the way. When Brunson steps up on defense, it means something for this team. It pushes them to the next level. Him taking those charges late in the game, that won us the game. That won us possessions that we threw away possessions, and then Brunson got us possessions back. Remember on that Alvarado steal, Brunson pinched down to the post, and he helped with Shamit. Karl Anthony Towns got up into the body on Şengün in that play. So this idea that they're not good defenders, they're not. But like, you got to be able to take an L. Like, some of these guys, they don't want to take an L. They just like get blown by here, not give an effort here. Like, if you get tired, we'll take you out. The Knicks have a deep team, but they got to play into energy so that they can play in waves. You know, that's the way that you have a deep rotation. That's the way you have a 10-man rotation with no egos, no roles, you know, no, I need to play this amount of minutes, this amount of that. Everything should start on defense. And ironically enough, you remember the Atlanta Hawk game when the Knicks made the fake comeback in the Atlanta Hawk game at the Garden. That's how they came back in that game too. They came back in that game by starting to play defense. Sometimes Mike Brown tries to search for an offensive lineup, and I feel like when you're down by 15, you try to like catch them, you know, with a 6-0 run, 9-0 run. Look at the Knicks in that fourth quarter. They were down by 16. They went down 18. They didn't score right away. They just kept the game in a competitive way, and then shots started to fall. Landry Shamet started to hit a three, right? So, Killer Kamikaze, did you see the interaction Cat and Shaq had? We talked about that. I loved it. I love the Perkins interaction with Jalen Brunson because Perkins is basically saying, like, oh, you want to have a transparent podcast? Let's go. You want to talk transparently? You want to be like, oh, we're giving you behind the scenes? Let's go. Let's do it. Do you know what you're playing for? And then people are like, you know, oh, man, you think these guys don't know? Yeah, I don't. I think they're disillusioned with all the, you know, I love you, hugging, take a picture. Like, you think that doesn't get in someone's head? I love you, you're the best, yo, I love you, I love you, you're my hero. Like, you're going, like, look how you guys act on Twitter when someone brings up something negative. Like, you could literally get gifts from Santa Claus every single year. The second that somebody says Santa Claus isn't real or Christmas is a joke, you guys go, this guy's terrible. You give all your attention to the negativity. But guess what? Santa Claus ain't real. That's the truth. The truth hurts. And sometimes, you know, these guys need to hear the truth. Like, Jalen Brunson 1-on-5 is not going to win us an NBA Finals. It's going to take a collection of guys together. Jose Alvarado, Karl Anthony Towns. Those are the two guys that carried us to get us back in the game. And then Brunson does what Brunson does. So, like, I love the fact that people are recognizing us as champions with criticism. With criticism. Because you're not going to get to the next level without criticism. Okay, it's not jumping over the ledge or all this nonsense that people say, like, oh, yeah, I love you. I love you. That's not going to get you to the next level. You got to be obsessed. And how the hell do you think Jalen Brunson made it this far? At 6'2", with no ability to jump above the net. You think he got there by his dad telling him, "Great game, I love you, great game"? No. So we just have to be real about how results and the process kind of like come together with this team. All right, I got Suede. Any questions or predictions about tonight's game? Yo, Suede, going once. All right, Suede's gone. We got this comment from Anthony. Anthony says, Giddy does well against us. Would like to see Sohan on him for a stretch. We'll see. We'll see if they match up together. I think Mikhail will probably take on Giddy. I think OG will take on Buzelis. And I think that they'll have, OG guarded Kevin Durant for 40 minutes. Let Mikhail guard Giddy tonight, please. But yeah. All right. Let me go back to my to the Bulls. The rebounding battle, we talked about that. Limiting turnovers, not giving Chicago an opportunity to get live ball turnovers at home and being able to score and get their crowd going. And then, I think as a bonus, getting a double-digit lead into half would probably be something that I would look to say, this is a marker of we're playing a successful game. I'm not a big results guy in terms of the scoreboard, box score, things like that. But getting a double digit into half would probably be, my marker of saying, okay, we're on trajectory to win this game by 20. 30 was kind of crazy, but we've seen this Knicks team bury teams before. So it's not out of reach for us to win by 30. So yeah. All right. I think Suede is trying to come back up. And if you guys want to see your call and you want to screen record it, you guys can come on the YouTube and share it. Suede, what's going on?
Yeah. Papa, what up?
What's going on, brother? Any questions or predictions about tonight's game?
Wait, I hear a double. I don't know if that's
You might be on YouTube.
No, I'm not on YouTube, but I like your like.
Go on mute. Go ahead, give your take. I'm gonna go on mute. All right, Suede is gone again. But guys, hit the subscribe button for me real quick. I got 72 people in here. We are trying to get to 1,300 subscribers by the end of the night. Would appreciate that as the channel grows. I just bought a Knicks flag that I'm going to put behind this wall. Behind this wall is my next door neighbor, and I don't think they like me too much. I don't know how much they can hear me. And I never have engaged with them other than putting my head down in the hallway. So I don't know if me whispering, they could hear it more. Or if I talk like this, they can hear it more. I just hope that they don't hate my whole existence. I guess I'll give a chunk 25% of Nick's Twitter does. Suede, I'm going to give you another shot. Here you go. I'm going on mute. You give your take. Suede going 3 times. All right, Suede, we're gonna bring you up next game, brother. You're on Mitchell Robinson status, okay? I'm gonna DMP you, okay? But shout out to everybody in the room right now on YouTube. I got another question from Barely Fits In. I believe this is my man from Atlanta, right? How disrespectful would it be if Yabu went for a double-double? I was scared of the Yabu situation, and spin the block on me now, later on tonight, but it would have been a problem if we would have lost 2 in a row into the Yabu revenge game. That would have taken a lot of stress in my, cellular makeup. It might have put me in a bad position internally. Like my internal organs would have been in trouble. Have you guys been on Facebook lately and seen like these reels of like your organs being like AI cartoons talking to you? Or is that just me? I know Rogue Shiesty doesn't have a Facebook, but like, have you guys seen that on Facebook where it's like, I'm your kidney. Stop feeding me this. I need water. It's like if Yabusele got if Yabusele off a 2-game losing streak out of the All-Star break, if Yabusele fed us a double-double and a win and him hitting a dagger 3, it would have been a problem for me. I would have been in real trouble, man. I'm your poop. If I look light brown, I'm healthy. Like, I'm like, yo, what is this? It used to be just like cooking videos. You know what I mean? It used to be like cheese, lasagna, sauce, and then some dude slicing it on a sandwich and then putting the thumbs up. Now it's like literally, if your urine is this color, that means you're drinking enough water. If your urine is this color, that means you need water. I'm like, is it only me? Them videos be hella informative. They really do, though. But I don't know if they're true. I just feel grapefruit is the best belly buster. If it's like a grapefruit and it's just smashing the fat out of your intestines. And it's like, yeah, I'm grapefruit. And I'm just like, geez. And I never get it. I never get the grapefruit. I never do it. I just feel like, you know what? I'd rather let them down. Let me let my organs down while I'm watching that. And then I could just feel my organs watching the video like, take the advice. We are actually emojis down here. Please. Go on Facebook right now. I bet. Go on Reels on Facebook. That's all it is. They have one about dogs and like how the dog is like, if I follow you in the bathroom, it's not because I'm curious. I'm protecting you. And I'm like, just shut up already. Oh my God. I follow in a pack, and it's a part of my behavior. If I bring you a sock, it's not me wanting to play. I've made a discovery. And I'm just like, shut up already. God, if you're an idiot in 2026, really shame on you. There's like 50 million ways to learn something. Oh yeah, man. Videos do be hella informative. All right. Really quick, just want to go through. Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it all up. We'll try Suede one more time. Suede, what's going on?
I hope it works this time. I don't know. Space was acting stupid. I just wanted to say, Mike Brown was coaching a questionable game up until like the late third, fourth quarter. And to be honest, like a lot of his questionable games, I don't want to say it's all on him, when in all reality, like, the coach came out there and do the player's job. The players tend to deviate off the script from time to time, trying to get themselves into offense, trying to get themselves like heated up and whatnot. So at the end of the day, like we criticize Mike Brown, we criticize Tom Thibodeau, but at the end of the day, they both they say the same thing. You got to trust the pass. You got to trust the player. Nobody's asking JB to average 10 assists, but it's like if a double team is coming, a triple team is coming, you don't want to hold the ball with 3 of them guarding you sideways, It's like trust your teammate to know what to do with the ball. They're all ball players. Like OKC, you're telling me it was just Shea that won them the whole, like Shea and Jalen Williams and Chet, they were the whole OKC team that won. Like, nah, they had Andrew Wiggins, Isaiah Jones, a bunch of people that call them nobodies out there hooping. And you're going to tell me that we got named players on our team that can't go out there and hoop?
Yeah.
It's nonsense. They can't. They just got to start trusting each other better and start showing like, I got faith in you. What you can bring to the court, like it's gonna help us out. And they showed it yesterday. Like Cat huddling them up to play defense. JB taking 2-3 charges. All of that plays into the team.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good observation. Any predictions for tonight's game? Any things you were looking for?
Knicks are gonna take a dub. It might be. I think it's gonna be a close game for the most part, up until maybe the late third, fourth quarter, where the Knicks are gonna take it home. Mike Brown is definitely going to use a lot of his players today. I expect to see Jordan Clarkson minutes, even probably Tyler Kolek. And to be honest, it's how they respond, because the players, it's like they come out strong in the first, and then it's like the other team will punch them back, and it's like, oh, what do we do now? But like, you guys just got to be able to stay composed for 48 minutes.
Yeah, I think they just got to put a complete game together. They could just shot variance can screw them over one quarter here and there, but they got to win three. Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing too is like, I feel like they get such good looks on offense, and our problem is like we just don't hit the timely shots. The big like shots that we should hit to stop them other teams from going on big runs. Like OG, the game against Detroit, like If OG hits like 2 threes in certain moments,
the game has a different feel. Yeah, it's a different game.
Yeah, it's a different ball game, So it's like, that's why I don't really necessarily chalk it up to like, like this whole team's got to go and whatnot. Because it's like, yeah, it's a bad night and whatnot. But when the team puts it all together for 48 minutes, dog, I don't think anybody's seeing us. I'm gonna keep it a band.
Yeah. There's a couple teams that are in our way for sure, but I think that it's only a couple. That I think it's about 3 or 4 teams that are really in our way, and I think the rest would be self-inflicted. But I do think at this point there are teams that can say the same thing that you just said about their execution and their,
I see, like, when the playoffs hit, I see anything that happens in the playoffs is 100% self-inflicted. Like last year, we don't lose that Indiana series if they just fucking finish the game strong, If they don't just start like diddy-daddling at the end, start just jogging on defense. If they finish that game strong, Indiana does not win that series. So it's like, and then at that point, when they lose that game to Tyrese Halliburton, they're shot at that point. They're like, oh, did we just chalked the series up? So now they got all this stuff running in their head and whatnot. So it's so, I feel like the Knicks' losses are always self-inflicting, to be honest with you. Like, yeah, there are matchups that kill us,
Yeah, when I gotta cut you off. 21 losses is a Bill Parcells level. You are what your record says you are. I don't think that they are just single partners in them losing. I think they are a flawed roster at some levels, and they get done in on their lack of execution, and part of it could be intangibles, part of it could be I think they have a few players that don't really play the game at a high IQ. I don't think they play together collectively at a high IQ all the time, and this is why they go through lulls in quarters, and sometimes they get bit. Like the Pacers loss, yes, that was self-inflicted. The Pistons losses is a combination of it's self-inflicted, but the Pistons are just a better team right now. So, like, we have to – and I thought the Rockets were right there with us. I think the Rockets had a certain game that they wanted to play. I think they executed what they wanted to do. I think we were right there with them, and then we let go. We let go in the third quarter. So that's like kind of like the margin for us. But thank you for your call, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to head out of here in a second, but if you want to see my reaction to last night's game, I have a quick instant reaction video that I recorded at the end of my stream in the live stream, and I posted it as a separate video. Definitely take a look at that to get my thoughts on the game from last night. And I will not be doing the live play-by-play tonight, but I probably will be doing one for Tuesday night, as that is a premier matchup. So definitely hit the notification bell to stay alert to when I do go live. We'll try to do these lives a little bit more, and we'll try to get you guys involved as well on that front, and more engagement. So shout out to everybody that's in here. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, and again, check out that video on YouTube where I give my reaction to the Knicks beating the Rockets and an 18-point comeback in the fourth quarter. This is your Knicks.